Hello again, this is Michael Wojak with your City Council update for the meeting that took place on November 16th, 2009. Not a whole lot to get to, so this should be relatively short. The biggest thing that we have coming up that we voted on is we're going to have a public hearing to discuss some language in the city charter. Actually, for a short period of time now, we've actually, our hotel motel tax in the city of Rochester has been at 4%. The charter itself actually states that we can be no higher than 3%, so we are in effect violating our charter. This further comes into play because we're looking to add 8% to fund the city's portion of the Civic Center expansion. So we have to clarify that language. The interesting thing here is that has to pass by a 7-0 vote. So, but that'll be coming up shortly. I have some concerns. I'm going to express those concerns. However, that being said, anyone that voted against this motion would effectively kill the Civic Center expansion, and there's some reasons why I don't think that that's in our best interest. We also there was also a item in here to purchase some land along Highway 52 and return it to an adjacent owner. And what I would comment on here is that a couple things we don't want. We don't want to be giving developers sweetheart deals where essentially the taxpayer, whether that be at the state, city, county, whatever level, ends up basically giving a gift away. I think that that's actually what we did with some other property. The second thing is, since we're going to the aid of essentially a private development in this point, I want some language in there that makes it very clear that they have to work with the neighborhood, whatever they decide to do with that land. More and more, I think people are starting to realize the days of just developers stepping on the neck of neighbors and doing what they will is quickly going away. That bridge over the bridge over Highway 14, it's initially going to be a pedestrian connection, but the corridor may eventually be a transit corridor. That bridge is coming along. We're supposed to have a 12-foot wide bridge across that. The hardware that we have actually only requires a 10-foot wide. So if you're familiar with the crossings up in the northwest part of town that go over 55th Street or 50th Avenue, or I think West Circle Drive as well, I believe those are all 12-foot wide widths. This one that goes over 14 is going to be 10-foot wide, so it's going to be a little tighter than we're accustomed to in some of these. One thing that I may have mentioned this in my last update. We've had a couple times this has been pulled now, but essentially there's a vacation petition from Thomas and Laura Prow. Basically, they want some land downtown. They want the taxpayers to essentially give this land to them. And what I find interesting about that is the city charter is very clear on this. It says that there absolutely must be a public benefit. To date, I have seen absolutely, positively no public benefit whatsoever. So the interesting thing is one of two things is going to happen. They're going to come back and vote on a project that in fact there's going to be something there that has some sort of benefit for the public, and it's got to be worth the land that we're giving them. Or, and this may actually happen, the city council will openly violate the city charter and grant basically giving this land back for no reason whatsoever, basically just a gift, which again is against the essentially the constitution of our city. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And final item, once a year we have hearings where people can come in and talk about assessments they're charged that they may disagree with. And usually the people that come forward, they got a pretty good reason for coming forward, and that was the case this time. I think that the way we've structured how the city is set up and how the city runs, we are really being unfair to a lot of people, particularly those living on a fixed income, those living in older areas, those living on responsible, sustainable, smaller lots. They are paying the punishment for the sprawl that the city continues to do. We have people that can barely afford to pay their mortgages, and we're assessing them for sidewalks because we don't have a sidewalk utility. While in some cases we're assessing people for sidewalks when across the street they don't have a sidewalk. So basically they're providing the safe pedestrian ways, which is something that I absolutely support, but they're paying for a system that they've already contributed to disproportionately. I don't think that's fair to those homeowners, and we need to move towards a situation where we have a sidewalk utility, and what that would mean is instead of people getting nailed with $1,000-$2,000 bills at some point, maybe instead everyone's paying in a some amount um, on basically like on their RPU bill, be it $1 a month or something like that, and the money for all these fix-ups and improvements and future sidewalks comes from that fund instead. The disappointing aspect of what's going on right now also, and you've heard me talk about this a number of times, we treat we like to pretend that people who live on these small dense lots somehow cost the city as much as people who live on large sprawled out lots. That has never been the case, but that is the way that our tax and fee structure is set up. If we could move to a sidewalk utility, we could have somebody that lives on a 50-foot piece of land be paying a lot less than somebody who lives on 300 feet of frontage. It's the way that we have to go in the future, and I bring it up now. I continue to bring it up. I'm going to lose to this particular council on this because it's not something that this council believes in, but I'm going to keep bringing it up, and we will eventually move this direction. It just makes too much sense not to. But until we have 4 votes on the council to move this kind of stuff forward, it's just not going to happen. And some of our poor citizens are going to continue to pay the price for this council's inaction. Wasn't a whole lot else that happened at this particular council meeting. I'll continue to keep you updated with these posts. If any of you that are interested, the committee of the whole next Monday, we're actually going to be talking. As many of you know, I objected very strongly to the $650,000-$700,000 gift that we were giving City Center private development in terms of building a skyway. Well, as it turns out, that wasn't enough of a gift, and now they want us to finance the whole project at a very attractive interest rate. And it'll be interesting to see how much money we're willing to throw at this project, which has absolutely no public benefit whatsoever. But it's not the kind of thing that I think is a wise expenditure of taxpayer dollars. It does not benefit the public directly in any way. I think that's a practice that we have to stop. So thanks again for your attention. Hope you're having a wonderful fall. Have a great Thanksgiving, and I will update you again after the next City Council meeting.